Good evening, everyone. So starting today, we begin our journey for current affairs preparation for Civil Services Examination 2027. Take this as a pivotal point of your preparation journey, given that a lot of you are having kind of study vacation since 25th of May. So that vacation is enough time. Is it enough time or not? Young man, it is enough time. We should get back to studying, isn't it? First, there was a period of suspense कि क्या होगा prelims के बाद. Then there was a period of agony कि क्या हो गया. But this point is the point we have reached, that we have to think about क्या करना है. क्या करना है? What do we have to do right now? All right. So you're embarking on an ambitious journey, and our expectation is that currently 65% or 2/3 of the students in top 10 and top 20 ranks are from ForumIAS Academy. Our expectation is that with you joining us for 2027, we are able to make it set at 10 out of 10 and 20 out of 20 in the top 20 ranks from ForumIAS Academy. But that's not all. Our ambition is that we should be able to play an enabling role in your selection. That is why we want to exist, not just to be a bystander in your success, but we want to be enablers of your success. So any course that you have at ForumIAS is not just going to be just there. Secondly, as far as the current affair classes are concerned, they will appropriately align with our strategy that we are not just a teaching company. So CA classes will be having on Tuesdays and Fridays twice a week. Admissions for the first batch is closed as of now, as in it may get over. Second batch will commence from Tuesdays and Fridays next week from 11 a.m. This is the 5 p.m. and there will be another one from 11 a.m. So any of you who are anxious right now. Now coming to current affairs preparation, I have a few things to talk about, but I would like to take briefly your questions. Any questions with respect to current affairs that you may have? Any questions? Young men and women, your eyes are full of curiosity, but yes. One question that I got this morning is, first is with respect to the nature classes. So one thing that I would want to take is how we do it since 2012 and then at 2017. We are going to have an issue-based preparation. This applies for the mains examination. Issue-based preparation that applies to the mains examination, which means that I'm sure a lot of you would have done a lot of self-study and must have read the basic books, Lakshmikant and whatnot. You have to appropriately align for the mains examination, and that will mean that whenever you're reading something, while for the prelims, you have to know every line of the basics text, the NCRTs or the basic standard books. But for the mains, you don't have to. There's a good news. That good news is that you do not have to know every line of the book. I repeat, for prelims, if it is a common source, you have to know every line of the book. If you don't know and I know, I will win. But the mains, the game completely changes. You do not have to know every line of the book. You do not have to know every line of the book. But then on the same issue, my 5 points can be different from your 5 points. Then which points are more important? We'll have 2-3 criteria. The first is the criteria of common sense. That you should be able to tell me the most commonsensical thing about that issue, which is simple. So common sense will also be very simple. So you should be able to hit the bullseye by telling me what is the most commonsensical view about that matter or that issue. If you're not able to hit that, then we are in trouble. Isn't it? Just a few days back, I was having a session and somebody had given an answer on the topic of private members bill. I just needed one primary point on private members. Why do we need private members bill? Anyone? Anyone? So the student had written that diversity of views, but that's not what I'm looking for. The first point is that I would look for is that it provides opportunity for expressing contra-majoritarian views. Means the the parliament represents the majority, or the ruling party has the majority. So there must be a scope for contra-majority. In the whole, everyone is thinking this way. One person may be thinking differently, and he may be right. What if he's right? So we need that voice in the parliament and private members bill. This is the first point and a commonsensical point. So the first test for every point will be simplicity. That is what you should have. The second, where it will differ from your prelims preparation, is that it should not be the lamest and the commonest point, at least after 2-3 points. Here, what is going to matter is what we often call content differentiation, which means that all of you will be saying, sir, do we need to read 360 degree, 365, whatever, all these things? No, we don't want you to. We don't want you to. For the simple reason is that we will adequately cover everything that is important for the mains exam. The whole point of having classes is that we are trying to reduce your workload so that you can focus only on what matters and free you from those obligations. See, between time and money, money is less precious than time. Why? Because we can always earn more money, but we can never earn more time. Once it is gone, it's gone. Isn't it? So the whole point will be to save your time, and we'll try to do justice to that time. So the whole goal will be that you have to not read so much, you have to read this much. That will be enough to be getting a single digit rank in civil services, final list. It will be enough. And if you don't do it, somebody from this class will. I'm telling you. At least half the top 10 list will be from this class, will be from this batch, will be from this course. That's for 2027. The choice is yours whether you want to be there in that 50% or not. But that has been there since 2017 when we started it. It could be in the initial years, maybe 3 out of 10, but largely every third to every second candidate will be from these classes. One of you sitting here will give a rank. That has happened every year. So the point will be that we'll try to provide some different content, differentiated content. The third is some keywords. Keywords are great. For example, keywords are important. And I'm not talking about jargon. There's a difference between a jargon and a keyword or a simplified keyword. A jargon makes things complex. What is a jargon? It makes things complex. So if you've written a jargon, you need to explain it. A jargon is different because if you've written a jargon, you need to explain it. Whereas, and you will have some jargons, I'm not going to deny this. We'll try to include the Prime Minister's speech. Government documents will have jargon. We'll include them too as well. They'll need to be explained. But then there's a more relevant keyword will be, the test of a good keyword is what is called? A good keyword is self-explanatory. I repeat, what is the test of a good keyword? It is, you read that word and you know the meaning. And their expression of ideas. I repeat, their expression of, you probably could feel all of it, but if you don't have that word to explain it, you will have to write a lot. I repeat, you may have the feeling, but to express it, you will have to write a lot. Or if you know an exact word, it will replace it. As young students who have come to Delhi, I'm sure you'll relate with something like, let's say a word like relative poverty or relative deprivation. Relative poverty. Have you ever felt something sometime? Some sort of relative deprivation or relative poverty? Isn't it? Now, unless you know the word relative poverty or relative deprivation, to explain it, you will have to use too many words. But the minute you write that what has social media done, you just write, it has created a sense of relative deprivation. It is self-explanatory. Means the minute you get that word, you don't have to write any further. You've done the word. Which is why without these words, no matter how you feel, how much you know, now just to explain this term, you'll need too many words. Many years from now, we had a young girl, Richa Ratnam. She was a Hindi medium student, and we conducted the classes and all of MGP in English medium. So she was part of MGP. Nobody was there to check her copies because she wrote in Hindi and we did not provide for Hindi medium. So all the copies would end up coming to me. Now she was worried, so there are no selections in Hindi medium. And then she also attended the current affair classes. And then she said, sir, I want to attend because it's an English medium, but I'll translate and do it. And I'm telling you, she ended up getting a rank and she was only the one student who had joined from Hindi medium. She became the topper of Hindi medium that year. She was the highest rank holder that year from Hindi medium. We only did one thing. We told her to focus on self-explanatory words, because the problem with a lot of our Hindi medium students was that they would explain everything. And the examiner did not share the enthusiasm for reading so much. And that year, Varun Reddy had gotten 7th rank. So I brought that copy and showed it to her, that this young man is able to explain his ideas through certain words, and you have to elaborate in them. It's not going to work out. So she focused on it and she delivered results. And she became the topper, or probably the highest rank holder from Hindi medium. All right. So this is what we will, content definition and keywords is what we will focus on. We'll train you to do this. Second is that do not, I say this every year, but it's my duty to say it again. Do not overestimate what we can do in one day. As the first class will happen, I'll have a bunch of students come to me कि sir बहुत कम हुआ है. I would have read so many topics. I would have read 10 topics if I had not done a class. The same student comes after a few months and says, sir, बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया है. So the lesson here is that please do not overestimate what you can do in one day. I repeat, do not overestimate what you can do in one day. And second, do not underestimate what you can achieve in 3 months. One day, 1 week from now, you will feel that we haven't done much. 3 months from now, you'll be on the other side of the spectrum, feeling that we have done too much or ho nahi pa raha hai. One of the ways to excel in social sciences is to read whatever you're having in your notebook. Try to have it in your head. A lot of students have everything in the notebook, but they don't have it in their heads. And if you don't have it in their heads, what is the challenge? You're looking for it everywhere. Right? Like the Kasturi Mrig. Isn't it? Like the musk deer, which is looking for that fragrance, later realizing that it is coming from its own belly. So some students will have this problem, that they have everything in the notebook, but it's not in their head. One of the ways, easiest way to put things in your head is attend lectures, ideally in the offline mode. You will be reading a lot of things, white paper, black font. I mean, in the next weeks, months till the examination, prelims and mains, you'll be reading everything on white paper and black font, to the point that before the exam, you will reach a stage where whatever is written in white paper, black font, it stops going inside your head. I'm sure some of you may have experienced this when you wrote the prelims this year. Keep padte, now you're reading and now it's not getting inside your head. Does this happen to any of you? Yes or no? It will happen to you. Which is why, please attend classes. Even if you're very smart, even if you can take the notes, but I would say attend classes, attend every single one of them. Whenever I've met an outlier means he has lost the plot, he has given 3 attempts, not clear prelims, and then getting a single digit rank. He'll always be one who will say, sir, I've not even done 99%, I'm your 100% student. I've done 100% of the plan. I have done 100% of the program. So make sure that you are also that 100%. There are so many people who can do 90%. There are so many people who can do 95%. Very many people who can do 99%. But the whole game is doing it 100%. So make sure that you attend classes, you hear words. And when you hear words, social sciences beauty is that they will stick to you. For example, you've heard the term relative poverty or relative deprivation. It's going to stick to you. So while descending the stairs, and especially if you're a woman candidate and descending the stairs, you by mistake enter Kalyan Jewelers, that feeling will, yahi tha relative deprivation. Right? So they'll stick to you. That's the beauty of it. If you heard it once, they'll stick in your mind. They'll control your mind, right? Third is, so every time whatever is being done, please make sure that you do 3 to 5 revisions of it. You can write down in your minds, if not in your copies, that if you don't revise 5 times anything, it's better not to study it. Because the beauty of social science is that whenever you study something, it's easily understood. The ugly underbelly is that it's not easy to reproduce it. The ugly underbelly is that it's not easy to reproduce it unless you have done it 3, 5, 7 or 10 times. Some people take 5 attempts to realize that you needed 5 revisions, and you ask them, how did you get a single digit of 7 rank in your 5th attempt? And the guy says, sir, I did 5 revisions in 5 years. Not a good idea. Do those 5 revisions in 1 year. That's the strategy. You got $1 million piece of advice, isn't it? So whatever, even these notes that sir will be giving you, make sure that you revise it 3, 5, 7, 9 times. And the Most important piece of advice. Learn how to use the same content across topics. I repeat, learn how to use the same content across topics. We have created different disciplines to segment knowledge, but all knowledge is really philosophy or the love of wisdom, the mother of all knowledge. So it's really one subject. But then you should know how to twist one idea and reuse it across all 4 papers, including essay paper, even your option paper. So whatever is being done here, make sure that you should not, once you master it by reading it 7 or 9 or 10 times, they will replace your old content with new content. That is what you have to perfect. And if you don't do it deliberately, it won't happen on its own. So when we started long back, the second batch ideally of students who came was all selected students who came for rank improvement and service improvement. And the big challenge was that people had cleared, gotten into service 2 or 3 times. They said, sir, we want to do some classes. We want to do MGP and current affair classes. The problem was that even if they did the classes, when the question would come, they would write wahi jo pehle se aata tha. I repeat, you could do all the classes, but then the question comes and you have ghisa peta content from your foundation notes, and then you are writing the same thing. There is no point. So I tell these batches, sometimes those selected students whom I knew from before, I'd say, I would want to see your notes. So once they would start sending the notes, you know, at least they are writing. And once they master it, they will have fresh content. So one objective will be, no matter what content you have from before on a topic, you will discard old content and you'll focus on the new content that is being done here. And not just focus on it, you'll have to master it. Right? You'll have to be better than everyone else at using this content. And that will take 3, 5, 7 or 9 revisions. Next is, with respect to newspaper, I got some queries that should we read the newspaper, a very fundamental query. We have a very clear strategy with respect to newspaper. And that's, with respect to newspaper, we have a yes-no strategy. The yes says that yes, we must read the newspaper. How many days a week? Every day. I want you to read the newspaper every day. Why? You say, then what's the point of the classes? The classes are going to focus on issues such as the US-Israel war. They'll explain you to the issue. They'll give you a historical background. They'll give you the keywords. They'll tell you what is a good introduction and a good conclusion. That's what we'll do. But then I want you to read the newspaper so that A, you are able to appreciate it. B, you develop reading comprehension habits. We are having, in the past decade or a decade and a half since I've been seeing the paper, I can tell you that we are, and today I was talking to a very senior faculty, and I said that this is the times where you have the toughest paper. The paper is on the tougher side. It's not going to be, and for some reason, we don't know why the difficulty level of the paper has been raised. We sometimes feel that the commission is trying to ensure that any sort of lightweight tayari, especially because younger people like you, when you were born, by that time social media came and you have been watching too many videos, sometimes to the point that you have impaired reading writing skills, or at least impaired reading skills. We first got insights into this way back in 17, 18 when somebody said, sir, I can't read Lakshmikant. Can somebody make an audio book? I'll pay him. I will just listen it or watch it. Then somebody from one of the edtech players actually made a summary of Lakshmikant, which people started reading. The commission has taken a note of this. And if you don't have a healthy reading habit, because everything that you can read will be converted into a video audio course on YouTube, leading to impaired reading skills, the commission's paper setting for the mains is, or even for the prelims now. I'm sure a lot of you who have written the prelims would have faced that I was not able to complete the paper. And we are not even talking CSAT. Even GS you will have trouble. This was not the case earlier. But the difficulty level has been raised so that we are able to filter out the people who do not have good reading habits, an important skill set that is needed for the job, leave alone the exam. You must read the newspaper so that over a period of time, you have a better vocabulary, you are able to read things faster. And I'm not even talking about completing the paper. I'm talking about not even talking about completing writing the mains paper. I'm talking about completing reading the paper. That will be taken care of if you have a healthy newspaper reading habits. It's perfectly all right if you limit your newspaper time to 20, 30, 40 minutes, not exceeding 1 hour. It's also perfectly all right if you have exclusion errors. Exclusion errors. What do I mean by exclusion errors? I mean by exclusion is that if you have not read a good article, you have missed a good article, it's perfectly all right. This is acceptable. What is not acceptable is inclusion errors. What is an inclusion error? You have read a garbage article and you wasted your time. Exclusion errors are all right. कम पढ़ाई की है चलेगा, ज़्यादा पढ़ लिया है दिक्कत हो जाएगी. Because while you will have limited time, you will have another thing which in limited quantity, and that is limited energy in the day. So a student who has read a lot of bad articles, his big challenge is that he has lost the energy. Now he cannot do anything else. I see young students preparing for the first time and you ask them, what did you do the newspaper? The guy says, I read it for 2 hours. I have no problem with a guy reading the newspaper for 2.5 hours. My problem is, does he have the energy to study for the day? And if he's done, then well, it's a loss. And with respect to no, what should you not do? We should not make notes of issues from the newspaper. No notes of issues. That will be taken care of by the classes and by the faculty. Second is, no notes, no elaborate notes. Second, no war reporting. If you are new to civil services preparation, you will suddenly feel that something is wrong with Israel and Palestine and Iran. And therefore you will feel the need to make notes until you will realize that this is a regular affair for United States of America. 5 years back, this was again happening somewhere in the world. United States of America will be in a war. If the US is not in war, Russia will be. So some of you who are beginning, please do not make notes on war reporting. None of those sites will come, and we'll cover them in mapping classes anyway. Right? But yes, one more point, if you want, if at all you have the compulsive habit to, you want to scribble something, because I, for example, would need a pen to write down something whenever I'm reading something. You could sprinkle and probably write anything that you think is a one-line example that you can use in your mains answers. This is what you need to do. Right? So my advice to you will be that do not overdo current affairs, and largely CA classes that we have here, it will largely just be both current affairs as well as all dynamic issues of GS paper 2 and 3. All dynamic issues. So you will have what we call, what Prime Minister Modi would say, minimum governance, maximum government. So here it will be minimum time that you'll get and maximum output you will have. One doubt which people sent me before the class was that, sir, we're going to have some handouts. There are 2 ways you can read these handouts. One is that you can write an overlay on it, and it is a good enough so that you're able to use the same handout in the examination hall. The second is that if at all you are the note-making kind, before the mains exam, you can still summarize it and make your own notes out of it. But that should never be. Now, some people do not understand what a note is. A note inherently is a summary. I repeat, the definition of a note is a summary. Some people will make notes of these handouts, and those notes will be bigger than the handout. That is not a note. You're probably getting paid to write a book, and you're not getting paid for it either. That's not a good decision, right? So if you're going to make notes out of it, it better be a summarized form of what is here. And when you make such notes, you don't write what you already know. Some people have the habit of writing notes, and they will write everything that they already know. They write a note, make a note on Constitution. They will write that B.R. Ambedkar was the drafter of the Constitution, which is something that they already know. Not necessary. You're not writing a book. You're writing a note. A note should inherently have A, the most important things, and B, the things that you have trouble remembering. And C, exclude everything that you automatically and already know. Right? Then, so we'll be proceeding with the classes. The mains classes will largely be led by Dipin sir. And some classes will be taken by certain sections, including Science and Tech will be taken by Sahil sir. In the mains, in the prelims classes, Polity, Economy will be taken by Dipin sir, but all the classes will be taken by Sahil sir. This is how we are going to follow. We are till December. We are going to focus on the mains examination, and we'd request you also to focus on the mains examination till December, till the mid of it. Then we'll be breaking for a month, and the last week of January or beginning the first week of February. Yes, let's focus here. The last week of January or the first week of February, we'll start with the prelims focus classes. My request to all of you will be that please don't do anything apart from it. some people have the habit of annually doing only one thing and trying to doing it as much as possible. So they'll do CA classes, they'll read a magazine, and they will look for another YouTube video also on CA. We recommend that the time that you're saving, so you're defeating the purpose of the course. The time you are left with, you focus on other subjects. In any given examination or in civil services, the weightage of the CA will be sometimes as low as 10-20% and not exceeding 20-40% or anything like that. So give it only the due weightage that is necessary. And in the mains classes, we'll also be having live answer writing. So sir will, the faculty will require to write answers in the class. Try to benefit from it. Koshish ye honi chahiye. You are not doing a foundation class. Be clear of this. Again, you are not doing a foundation class where some students have the attitude that I will sit in the class and not apply my mind. I will just write down and at home I will read. And that student does not read it ever again. When you are in the class, be active learners. Don't be passive learners who are just noting down things. कि लिख अभी रहे हैं, पढ़ेंगे बाद में. If you're coming at Forum, we expect you that while you are in the class, you are studying, you are full of energy, you are utilizing that moment and you are absorbing it. In fact, you are so good at absorbing it. You are one of those kids who takes a class and he has absorbed it so well that he says that, sir, I may not even need to revise it. Maybe before the next class, I will revise it for 10 minutes at best. So be a good listener, be a good absorber. And last but not the least, be a good student. All right. So thank you so much, class. And sir will begin with the CA class today. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Just one question? Chalo, wonderful. Thank you.